Hey, John, you're not on mute.
I hadn't joined the meeting.
Thank you. Thank you. Can you take the dogs out and shut the door, please?
I will.
Thank you. I know I need my water thing, Dave.
Yes.
Thank
Joe,
you.
you're not muted.
Sorry?
You're not muted.
Good evening. This meeting is being held pursuant to Executive Order N 2920, issued by California Governor Gavin Newsom on March 12, 2020. Any or all board members may attend the meeting by phone. Members of the public may attend at the Fairfield-Sassoon Central Office, 2490 Hillborn Road, Fairfield, California, to observe and provide public comment during the meeting. Board members will state their name when they make the motion and when they make the second. All votes will be recorded via roll call format. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Gott,
Here?
Mrs. Honeychurch,
Here.
Mr. Isom,
Here.
Mr. Richardson,
Here.
Mr. Silva,
Here.
Ms. Smith,
Here.
Mr. Wilson.
Here.
Thank you. Motion carries. May I have an approval for the agenda?
Move approval.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mrs. Gott,
Here?
Mrs. Honeychurch,
Aye.
Mr. Isom,
Aye.
Mr. Richardson,
Aye.
Mr. Silva,
Aye.
Ms. Smith,
Aye.
Mr. Wilson.
Aye.
Motion carries. So we will be moving to the closed session for discussion and possible actions on matters of student discipline, personnel, negotiations, and litigation. Do we have any public comment on closed session item?
There's no public comment.
Okay. We will adjourn to closed session. Good evening. This meeting is being held pursuant to Executive Order N 2920 issued by California Governor Gavin Newsom on March 12, 2020. Any or all board members may attend the meeting by phone. Members of the public may attend at the Fairfield Sassoon Central Office, 2490 Hillborn Road, Fairfield, California, to observe and provide public comment during the meeting. Board members will state their name when they make the motion, and when they make the second, all votes will be recorded via roll call format. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag
Flag
of
The
the
United
United States of America and to the republic for
Republic
which
for
it
which it
stands,
stands,
one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Superintendent Corey, could we please have the report of action taken in closed session?
Yes, thank you. I am in a separate room and I will join you back on the dais after my report. I have a lot to read and I wanted to be able to do it in isolation without a mask. So in the matter of conference with real property negotiators pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.8, property 1634 Rockville Road, Fairfield, California. The board directed staff to offer the real property at 1624-1634 Rockville Road for sale to the general public. The district owns approximately 10 acres located in the unincorporated Solano County and commonly known as the former Falls Elementary School site. This site has not been used for educational purposes for an extended period of time and was deemed surplus in 2010. The district intends to sell the property by offering it for sale pursuant to the provisions of the California Education Code related to the sale of surplus real property. The district has complied with the statutory requirement to offer the property to various public agencies prior to declaring an intention to offer the property for sale publicly. No public agency expressed an intent to acquire the property. Again, this was done previously when we tried to sell the property before, so we had already met this requirement. Accordingly, the district can now move forward with offering the property for sale to the general public. Tonight, the board will consider approving the resolution of intent, related draft bid document, and staff's recommendation to offer the site for sale to the public. We'll consider approving the resolution of intent. District staff has recommended that the property be offered for sale for an amount of not less than $550,000. If approved by the board tonight, the property would be offered for sale pursuant to the terms and conditions described in the resolution of intent and before the board tonight as board item number 12A. In the matter of conference with labor negotiators, Government Code Section 54957.6, subsection F, no action was taken. In the matter of conference with legal counsel, existing litigation, case number FCS 052181, no action was taken. In the matter of Office of Administrative Services hearings, OAH case number 202008077, by unanimous decision, the board approved the settlement agreement of this administrative hearing case number 202008077. In the matter of case number C20-01863, no action was taken. There was no action taken under public employment and no action taken under employee discipline, dismissal, release. And that concludes the report of closed session.
Thank you, Superintendent Corey. We will now move on to number 4, communications, recognitions. I will be turning it over to Bethany Smith and our student board member, Chantel Martino to introduce the 4 students of the month.
Is Andrew Pearson, a 5th grader from Rolling Hills Elementary School, has been selected as one of the district's Students of the Month for November 2020. Andrew is a student every teacher wishes to have in his or her class and has been an outstanding Red Hawk since his first days at Rolling Hills. Andrew is an excellent and responsible student. He is an example of kindness and thoughtfulness and will help anyone who needs it. He has a love for reading that is amazing and inspirational. In addition to his schoolwork, Andrew is a dedicated and committed baseball player and even practices after the season is. Andrew is quite the seasoned traveler. He has already traveled to Europe. He has expanded his knowledge and love of learning around the world and its various cultures and traditions. We are confident that Andrew will be a success at whatever he puts his mind to. We congratulate you, Andrew Pearson, for being honored tonight as one of the district Students of the Month for November 2020.
Next, we have Scarlett Snyder, a 5th. Oh, I'm so sorry.
Hello, my name is Andrew, and I'm 10 years old. I am a 5th grader at Rolling Hills Elementary School. My favorite subject is math, and my favorite thing to do in my free time is to play video games, help people out, and I like to play baseball sometimes. Thank you all the teachers who nominated me for the Student of the Year.
Next, we have Scarlett Snyder, a 5th grader from Crescent Elementary School, who has also been selected as one of the district's Students of the Month for November 2020. Scarlett is an exceptional student. She takes the initiative to get her work done. She is an honor roll student maintaining an A average. Scarlett is well liked by everyone and volunteers to help out when needed. During distance learning, she is always willing to show other students how to use new tech apps. She got involved in drama club in the 4th grade, playing a very snarky reindeer in a Christmas musical, and she was also cast for the Alice in Wonderland musical. She was involved in Battle of the Books last year and signed up again this year. Scarlett is quite the entrepreneur. She has turned her hobby of making lip gloss into a business called Dark Sunshine. She will be making and packaging lip gloss in different colors and flavors. Scarlett is a great example for others to follow. We congratulate you, Scarlett Snyder, for being honored tonight as one of the district's Students of the Month for November.
An entrepreneur, man.
Good evening, Superintendent Corey, Board President Honeychurch, governing board members, and FSUSD community. I would like to thank my parents and past and present teachers for teaching me and encouraging me on the way. I will do my best to continue to make Crescent proud, and I look forward to continuing my education and serving in the school district. Thank you.
Ini Yamamoto, an 8th grade student at Dano Root Health and Wellness Academy, has been selected as one of the district students of the month for November 2020. Ini is an exemplary student who works hard at everything she does. She has attended Dano Root Health and Wellness Academy since 4th grade. She excels in academics, school involvement, and competitive cheerleading. Ini has been an active member of Dano Root's Student Council for a number of years. She plans to run for a Student Council officer position this year, and her favorite school subject is science. Ini is a true leader on our campus. Outside of school, she has participated in competitive cheerleading and hopes to do high school cheer also. After high school, she would like to attend UCLA and pursue a career in nursing. We congratulate you, Ini, for being honored tonight as one of the district students of the month for November.
Hi, my name is Ku'uini Yamamoto and I am 13 years old and from Hawaii. I lived there for 9 years. I came to California in 2016 about to start 4th grade. I currently live with my grandparents from my dad's side of the family. They have been super supportive with my dream and I love them for that. I am very appreciative for the opportunities that they have given me. I am very grateful for the opportunity as Student of the Year at Fort Dana Root. I would like to say thank you to my teacher, Mrs. Collins, for nominating me this year, and to my grandma for teaching me to be hardworking and to empower myself. And a big thank you to my principal, Mrs. Julie Reese, for picking me to be Student of the Year. I am very thankful and humbled. Also, thank you to everyone who helped me get to where I am now. I would not have made it without you.
Kalena Horton, a 5th grader from Laurel Creek Elementary, has been selected as one of the district's Students of the Month for November 2020. Kalena has attended Laurel Creek since kindergarten. Each of her teachers have praised Kalena as very conscientious, kind, hardworking student who is a pleasure to have in class. Ms. Horton was selected as our Student of the Month because of her great work ethic and kind, respectful attitude. Her teachers say she is the embodiment of our SHARK rules. Kalena always shows safety, has integrity, accepts responsibility, respects others, and is kind and helpful. Kalena is an excellent student. Her favorite subject is math. She enjoys reading and taking reading quizzes. Kalena is a gifted athlete and especially loves softball and basketball. She's not sure what she wants to do when she grows up, but thinks that teaching would be a great profession for her. We congratulate you, Kalena Horton, for being honored tonight as one of the district's Students of the Month for November.
All members of the governing board, Board President Honeychurch, Superintendent Corey, thank you for this opportunity to thank my teachers for selecting me to represent Laurel Creek as Student of the Month for November. I'd like to thank my teachers at Laurel Creek for this encouragement and dedication to the students. I have attended Laurel Creek since kindergarten. My favorite subjects in school are math and reading. I'd also like to thank my parents and family for always supporting me and teaching me to always do my best in sports and school. After I graduate from high school, I plan to go to college and earn a degree. I'm confident that with the solid foundation my parents, family, and teachers have provided, I will achieve my goals. My thoughts are to become a teacher when I grow up. I would also like to go into the Olympics for softball and win a gold medal. Thank you again for this recognition. I will continue to work hard and do my best.
Okay. Moving on to B, presentation regarding the support for students in distant learning. I'll be turning it over to Angie Evelinitis, but do we have any public speakers first?
There are no public speakers.
Okay, I'll turn it over to Angie.
Thank you. Good evening, Superintendent Corey, Board President Honeychurch, and members of the Governing Board. Tonight, your educational services team, including our comprehensive high school principals and I, have the pleasure of sharing information and updates with the Governing Board regarding the county's COVID tier, supports available for students in distance learning, and an athletic and marching band update. Solano Public Health encourages us to be mindful of holiday gatherings in order to prevent a spike in COVID-19 cases. As of November 10th, Solano County remains in red tier 2. Public Health anticipates we may move back into the purple tier and asserts the earliest this would happen is the week of November 23rd. Should this happen, the entire county will revert to the purple tier for a minimum of 5 weeks. And the earliest the county could consider reopening is December 28th. On October 8th, the Governing Board elected to remain in distance learning and to revisit the opening plan on January 14th. During the December 17th board meeting, we look forward to presenting information the board needs in order to make an informed decision during the January 14th Governing Board meeting. On January 14th, the board will vote to either remain in distance learning with a reconsideration date, reopen in a hybrid model with a reopening date, or reopen schools 100% with a reopening date or phased in date. Looking at the first two columns of this chart, it's a reminder for the board that while the county is in purple and/or while we are closed in red, the following in-person guidance applies. We are not permitted to reopen unless we previously opened in red or if we applied for it and received a waiver, and that's for grades TK to 6 only. If schools open with a waiver, surveillance testing is required. Absent a waiver, teachers of any grade level may elect to pilot in-person instruction, and cohort guidance maximum of 14 students applies while we are in purple or closed in red. Schools are required to plan for how to respond to symptomatic persons. Looking at the third column, in the event the Governing Board elects to reopen after the county has sustained 14 consecutive days in red, it is the discretion of the Governing Board as to what percentage to reopen at. Opening in red, as a reminder, allows us to stay open should the county revert back to purple and when closed in red. Neither a waiver nor surveillance testing is required if we open in red, and cohort guidance maximum of 14 students no longer applies. Again, schools must plan for how to respond to symptomatic persons. Listed before you are in-person activities which are permitted and occurring while we are in purple and/or red. As mentioned, teachers may elect to provide individual or small group instruction and/or intervention. Conditioning may occur and is at the discretion of coaches and staff. In-person assessments and services may occur. Sites may hold and are holding picture days and drive-through distribution events or activities. Your child nutrition team provides over 9,000 meals per day and teamed up with our transportation team to deliver 299 of those 9,000 meals to the homes of our students. Our liaisons and administration are conducting home visits. 22 of our schools have opened their facilities for students who need Wi-Fi access. Next up is Dr. Farrar, Director of Curriculum, Instruction, and Assessment, who will provide an update on district support for families.
New district tutorials are now live on the Family Resources website. Yay! All tutorials provide slides, a recording of live demonstrations, and a recording of the slides. Teacher librarians collaborated with district translators to provide tutorials in English and Spanish. The district will continue to create tutorials for families to support access to district resources. These tutorials are especially helpful now, but this is one example of a practice the teacher librarians will continue no matter what phase of distance learning we are in. I'd like to hand it over to Dorothy Rothenbaum, Director of Special Education.
Thank you, Melissa. Listed on the slide are current in-person services through special ed. Our special education teachers and related service providers have been extremely busy over these past 3 months, completing assessments from March to June 20 and additional assessments from the beginning of this year. Staff are conducting in-person initial and triennial assessments. In addition, some students are being provided with in-person instruction to support distance learning with staff who've volunteered to teach on campus. While FSUSD has remained in distance learning, a majority of our students in non-public schools are attending in-person instruction for 1 to 4 days a week, 2 to 4 hours a day, while being transported by either the non-public school or the Solano County Office of Education. This past Monday, Solano County Office of Ed resumed in-person instruction for 75 FSUSD students on our sites, with transportation being provided by FSUSD's Transportation Department and parents. Vacaville Unified recently announced they will be returning special education regional program students beginning November 16th on an AM/PM schedule. Dixon Unified is discussing how they will begin returning their special education students as well. More recently, the Office of Civil Rights has issued guidance to address the potential for discrimination on the basis of disability, emphasizing the need to ensure a free, appropriate public education, PAPE, under the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, IDEA, and allowing for prioritization of students with disabilities for in-person instruction should it be required in order to receive FAPE. Our students with disabilities are one of our most at-risk populations, especially in distance learning. We're working with staff who volunteer to work in person with their students to ensure safe learning environments. These pilot programs are providing us with confidence that we will be able to return to in-person instruction for our students with special needs when the board revisits the return to in-person instruction in January. Thank you for your time. Presenting next is Ryan Gonzalez, Director of Elementary Education.
Thank you, Dorothy. The following slides contain information on the distance learning supports that are in place for the 2020-2021 school year. We are using what we learned from the spring and continue to learn in our current context to provide learning experiences that work best for our students, families, and staff. We have teachers in both our elementary and secondary schools who are providing one-on-one support to students, some in person and some virtually. School sites have secured tutoring services through outside vendors to provide targeted intervention supports. These supports are being delivered both in person and online. Sites have opened their libraries, gyms, and multi-purpose rooms for students to come and access Wi-Fi. Also, our school counselors and school psychologists have worked together to develop virtual wellness centers that can be accessed by students at any time. As we continue to focus on educating the whole child, social-emotional learning practices are growing in our schools across our district. A few of the practices we are observing are social-emotional learning instruction in classroom lessons, virtual one-on-one meetings with school counselors to set goals, and virtual individual and group counseling sessions to build self-awareness and responsible decision-making. Engaging families during distance learning is an important aspect of our work to strengthen the connections with families and support them as they navigate distance learning with their children. Our administrators are conducting weekly home visits to check in with families and students who may not be attending distance learning or who may be disengaged during instruction. This outreach has promoted a stronger homeschool connection, has improved attendance, and has kept families and students connected with their schools. Furthermore, site administrators are hosting virtual coffee chats with parents, sending out weekly newsletters, and making countless phone calls to connect families and their students with the supports they need to be successful during distance learning. Our Student Services Department is also connecting families via the Engaged Parent and Family newsletter and Engaged YouTube videos, which provide families with resources and support they can access in the community. Finally, site administrators are also providing our new teachers with experienced mentors and ongoing coaching support, so our new teachers are successful and become part of the school's culture and community. Next to present is Kristen Witt, Director of Secondary Education.
Thank you, Ryan. We're working hard to have a growth mindset as we navigate our current context of distance learning. As we learn new things, we know that we must refine and adapt. A large committee met prior to the start of the school year to draft the many elements of the distance learning plan for this school year. As we embarked on the practical implementation over the last 3 months, there were a few areas that continued to cause confusion, and we recognized that clarifications were needed. Elementary and secondary education brought the original committee members back together to look at the areas that needed clarification, and we devised a process for rolling out the clarifications to all staff, students, and parents and guardians. The committee recognized that merely sending an email or sharing a document would not be sufficient. It was important that we identified what each clarification meant and looked like for teachers, students, and parents and guardians. The committee drafted a clarifying document and prepared 3 videos. The video for teachers was shared on Tuesday of this week, and the videos for students and parents and guardians will be shared tomorrow. The clarification for asynchronous work explains that work assigned in asynchronous time does not need to be due the day it's assigned. Any work given as homework should be included as a part of the total number of allocated asynchronous instructional minutes. Our final clarification is that teachers can provide in-person instructional support following the site-specific Cal-OSHA plan. Involvement in extracurricular activities is such a pivotal part of the high school experience. We are truly happy to share with you this evening that each of our comprehensive high schools have begun conditioning for marching band and athletics. You will hear from our 3 comprehensive high school principals this evening: Sheila Smith, principal of Armio High School, Dr. Will Cushman, principal of Fairfield High School, and Clarence Isidore, principal of Rodriguez High School. They will each speak about marching band and athletic conditioning processes that have been taking place on each of their campuses. Presenting first this evening is Sheila Smith, principal of Armio High School.
Thank you. The next 3 slides presented by the comprehensive high school principals provide important information about how the comprehensive high schools are implementing conditioning processes that are aligned with state and county guidelines for our students participating on interscholastic teams. We are committed to provide our athletes and marching band members a safe way to continue participating in athletic and music programs because we know how important these programs are to keeping students connected to school. To give you context, I have shared with you the number of students who currently are accessing conditioning since late September at each of the comprehensive high schools. As you can see on the slide, Armio has approximately 80 athletes conditioning, Fairfield High has approximately 60, and Rodriguez has approximately 130 athletes and band students currently conditioning. As more athletes and coaches are eligible for clearance, these numbers will increase. The Rodriguez band director has elected to begin marching band conditioning, while the other high schools' band directors will begin conditioning activities at a later date. Dr. Cushman will now share our processes for ensuring all safety measures are in place to protect these athletes and staff.
Good evening. To participate in athletics or band, students are cleared through coaches and the respective director. Coaches must first meet all the mandatory district requirements and training, as well as certified dissemination of COVID-19 information. Directors coordinate coaches in order to limit cohort size, stagger start time and location assignments, and ensure that there is no interaction between groups. Receipts of acknowledgement of COVID-19 protocols are also required from all coaches, students, and parents before they can participate. Other steps to mitigate spread include entrance and exit protocols, participant symptom screening, social distancing during participation, and ensuring that all activities take place outdoors. Updates and other communication take place through virtual team meetings and team messaging programs. Several groups are already conditioning, including football, boys basketball, volleyball, and winter guard. Soon, other groups will begin as well, including girls basketball, boys and girls soccer, and percussion. Mr. Isidore will now share the latest guidance from the California Interscholastic Federation.
Thank you, Dr. Cushman. As president-elect for the California Interscholastic Federation Sac Joaquin section, our executive board will be discussing next steps for high school athletics that will provide a safe opportunity of moving forward for athletes on November 18, 2020. We have presently surveyed our principals regarding their distance reopening plan, along with county tier updates. Sac Joaquin section is presently in a summer conditioning period, which is under the authority of each league and or school district. Our section's official calendar practice for football and cross country will begin on December 7th. Water polo boys and girls, volleyball boys and girls, and badminton will begin on December 14th. The projected first contest date for cross country on December 21st, water polo and badminton on December 28th, volleyball December 29th, and football January 8th, 2021. These sport calendar dates can and may be pushed out further due to COVID-19 restrictions. If any games resume, it will be dependent on whether their county is and which tier the county is in. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Isidore. This is a reminder that we are all in this together. If you were to Google how to reopen schools safely during COVID, you would find numerous conflicting articles on the topic. We encourage everyone to assume positive intentions, as we know we are all doing the best we can, and we indeed strive to do even better. This time is now reserved for board discussion.
Thank you for that presentation. Board members, do you have any comments at this time, or is there any information that you would like to have before we discuss this in December?
Madam President.
Jonathan, go ahead.
I wanted to take a moment. I'm not sure when the last time this occurred, but I do want to celebrate our district and specifically Mr. Isidore for being the next president-elect for our CIF region. That's not something that I think we've always held a position in. And I know that our district has continued to be a beacon for our neighboring districts. And I just want to congratulate Mr. Isidore in his new role that's upcoming as president-elect of CIF. I know that he continues to encourage all athletes, has been an advocate in many ways, and I'm sure his leadership capacity for this region will be significant and it will have a lasting impact. So congratulations, Mr. Isidore, on your role. And also just want to thank the staff, both teachers and staff, for the work that they put into this document to find a path towards helping our student athletes in both sports and in the music area find a way to be able to execute their gifts, their abilities, as they prepare for their futures in their respective areas.
Thank you, Jonathan. Does anyone else, is there any information that staff needs to get or superintendent needs to get a hold of before our discussion next month? Okay. John?
Yeah, I just have a quick question. I noticed that conditioning for marching bands was going on at Rodriguez and at Rodriguez and Armio, but that Rodriguez was not at the request of the band director. Now, my question is that obviously, I'm sure some of those kids, want to condition. Is there any possibility that for those that want to go out there and condition, can do so at some of the other schools, since they themselves are not participating in their own school, at least officially?
I believe it was Rodriguez where the conditioning is happening.
Right, conditioning in Armio, I believe, and I noticed that it was at
No, just Rodriguez. It's something we can look into.
anyway. I just was curious if I can understand that maybe the band directors don't want to be out there, but some of the kids that do want to, maybe they could. I mean, Rodriguez already has a lot of kids. Sending a few more over might be a burden, but could be a great help to some of our other schools.
Hey, David?
I'd just like to thank staff for getting this report together, because what it really makes us understand is that we will be coming back to school, and this is just like a precursor to knowing that at some point we are going to be coming back to school. Things are going to get back to normal. Maybe a slow process, but this is the beginning of the process, and it's good to have all of this information. Thank you.
Yeah, I just actually have a question on the slide that says difference between purple and red. In parentheses, it says schools. There is a mention of surveillance testing. Can you just tell us what that means?
Angie, are you still on? And did you hear that question?
Yeah, I could barely hear Bethany. Do you mind repeating that, Board Member Smith?
So here's the thing. The last time I was sitting in the same place, I was basically screaming at everybody. So so it's on the slide that says difference between purple and red schools. There's different tiers. It says surveillance testing will be required or will not be required. What is the surveillance testing?
That's a great question. So what Dr. Matias has informed us is that if you are going to apply for a waiver, you need to have a robust plan in place for how surveillance testing will occur. So it's up to each site. You could have 25% of your staff ask that they test for COVID-19 on a rotating basis. You could have your request that your staff take the test weekly for COVID-19. You could have 50 requests that 50% of staff take it. The challenge is you can't require that staff provide you with a copy of their test results. But in essence, the reason I added that, Board Member Smith, and that's a great question, is because if you choose to apply for a waiver, a reminder that applies only for grades TK to 6, you're required to have surveillance testing in place. If you open schools while in red after we've sustained the 14 consecutive days, while surveillance testing is not required, we are required to have a robust plan in place as to how we mitigate the spread of COVID-19, which we do have.
Okay, so it is a COVID test. It's not checking your temperature and confirming that you don't have a cough. It's an actual COVID.
Yes, ma'am, you're correct.
Any other comments or questions? Okay, thank you very much. We will move on now to C, employee organization reports. And I thought I saw Nancy Dunn. Did she just leave? Okay, so oh, she's here. Okay, so we'll turn it over to Nancy.
Okay, I think we're ready. Good evening, President Honeychurch,
governing board members, Superintendent Corey, and community. I am Nancy Dunn, President of Fairfield Sassoon Unified Teachers Association. I would like to take this opportunity to honor the many unit members who are veterans, active duty, or part of a military family. Thank you for your service to our country in the military and continuing your service through educating our next generation of citizens. We are very proud to have you as part of our FSUTA family. Our elementary teachers finished the first trimester of the year last Friday. Parent conferences are held next week. During conference week, teachers continue to provide instruction for students and also conference in the afternoon with parents. They will truly be ready for Thanksgiving break the following week. Our secondary teachers had the second progress report of the first semester also due last Friday, with tomorrow being the last day of the second quarter for our alternative high school. As you can see, student progress is on everyone's mind these days. It was reflected in the recent survey of our members. We had 620 respondents with all school sites represented. We asked how effective has distance learning been for their students. On a scale of 1 to 5, with 5 being very effective, 74% rated the effectiveness of distance learning as a 3, 4, or 5. We also learned 74% of our respondents have purchased additional technology to assist them in providing distance learning. 43% have spent between $100 and $500, and 11% spending over $500 to make their home classrooms as effective as possible for their students. Members are also spending additional time during distance learning, planning, preparing, instructing, grading, and communicating with students and parents. More than 50% of the respondents are working more than 20 additional hours per week beyond their paid contract time. With all the efforts being put forward by students, parents, teachers, and administrators, and with such worrisome metrics showing a new wave of increased COVID cases, hospitalizations, and deaths, it reinforces the governing board's wise decision to keep us in distance learning. I know we all hope the coming holidays do not take us further into restrictive times, making it more unsafe to reopen schools until we have flattened the curve. Our members want to reopen schools the very minute it is safe to do so. In such difficult times, it's good to take a moment to remember how much there is to be thankful for, even if we're not able to gather with friends and family. On behalf of your teachers, counselors, librarians, nurses, and specialists, I wish you all a safe and healthy Thanksgiving break. Finally, to trustees Gott and Silva, a special thank you for your service to the students, families, and employees of FSUSD. Thank you for your time and attention this evening.
Thank you, Nancy. Are there any other employee reports? Okay. We'll move on. 4D, student board member report. Chantel, do you have a report to make?
Yes, I do. Thank you. Thank you all and good evening. For my report tonight, I would like to start off by talking about the survey that was recently sent out to school sites. The Student Advisory Council will be having its first board presentation this December, and we plan on incorporating the data from the mental health survey we sent out to students across the district into our presentation. The next Student Advisory Council meeting will be next Wednesday, where we will talk about the presentation, as well as the current efforts we are pursuing. We will have a following meeting on Friday to continue creating the presentation. Ms. Witt, the Director of Secondary Education, and I also met with Diverse Educator Network's tutoring program to discuss our partnership with each other and our efforts to pursue tutoring within the district, and we look forward to soon implementing student tutors within our schools. And that is all I have for my report. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Chantel. We move on to superintendent's report. Superintendent Corey?
Thank you, President Honeychurch. Do you mute your mic? Yeah, great. I want to echo our thanks to our veterans. We all honor you and your service. We hope that yesterday was a great day and many people reached out to you all, and thank you individually as well. I wanted to provide an update on the state testing. On Thursday, November 6th, the State Board of Education unanimously approved the use of shorter standardized tests in English language arts and math this spring. And so what that means is there will be state testing in the spring. We don't have all the details. I was watching a webinar today, or a meeting today put together by ACTA, where they gave some updates, but we anticipate hearing more. It is projected that these will start sometime at the end of February, but there will be the standardized tests throughout California. I just wanted to thank Educational Services and the committee who came together to provide the clarification on distance learning. The videos are great, and hopefully you will all enjoy them. And I had to laugh. We met with the parent leader group, and one of the things that we presented was that people are doing picture day, and they're doing it a little differently, where you sign up and bring your child in to have their picture taken, but it's still happening. And one of the parents said, I think we should do this every year, because this is the first time my child's hair was in place and their outfit wasn't dirty, because I brought them directly from home to take their picture and back. I just want to say not so fast to John Silva and Joan Gott. We have some more work for you to do. We have a special board meeting on December 10th that is already on your calendar that you will be participating in. But we also need to coordinate another special board meeting. And I need to have this on Tuesday, November 17th. We need to post it tomorrow. And what we're looking for is, we are ordering a large number of personal protective equipment so that people can return safely to work. And it has exceeded our threshold. And so we need to have the board consider a resolution and to do this work. And so I am hopeful that Tuesday, November 17th, at 8:30 in the morning works for this board. We can do the meeting virtually, but I'm wondering if anybody has a conflict with that time. Tuesday, November 17th, 8:30, and it probably will be a half-hour meeting. Doesn't look like it. Speak now or forever hold your peace. Okay, we all have a thumbs up.
Calendar.
I
Great.
have to
Okay,
check the
so
calendar first.
okay. Do you need to get back to me? No, you're good? Okay, awesome. So we're good? Okay, great. Tomorrow, just as a reminder, is World Kindness Day. So feel free to spread some random kindness tomorrow. And you don't have to keep it just to one day. Feel free to do it all year long. And then finally, I just want to wish everybody, oh, wait, I have one more big important announcement. We just put a press release out, and we will continue to put out the importance of completing the meal application. As you are aware, right now, everybody is still on the summer seamless feeding, and so they're able to receive their boxes of meals. But it's really important that people fill out the applications, because this could significantly impact our funding for the future. And so we are now at about 45%, and usually we're at 56%. So it's significant. So if you haven't filled out a meal application, please do so. Even if you don't think you will qualify for free and reduced meals, you can do it online.
The directions are in the press release and will be out on social media. So it's really important that our students do that. And then finally, I just want to wish everybody a happy and safe Thanksgiving. As we mentioned in our presentation, our Solano County Public Health Doctor, Dr. Macha, is strongly encouraging people to be very aware of the safe gatherings that can be had over Thanksgiving. You can have a safe family gathering if you wear your mask and you maintain social distancing. But he's really anticipating a spike when a number of people are coming together. So just try to maintain those two important things to keep COVID from spreading. We are going to be very thankful that week for no work emails during the time. We take that time off and we are encouraging our people to unplug from work. For many of our employees, this will be the very first vacation since before March. And so we will be putting that out and we'll get back to you after the Thanksgiving break. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Superintendent Corey. We now move to 5, public communication. This is the opportunity for the public to address items that are not on the board meeting agenda. Public comment is only permitted on matters within the subject matter jurisdiction of the board. Do we have public speak?
We do, and I'm going to call the first 3 so that they can get ready out in the hallway area. We have Jacob Francisco, followed by Aldrin Zambrana, followed by Jeannie Mills.
Good evening, Superintendent Corey, Board President Honeychurch, members of the Governing Board, and members of the community. My name is Jacob Francisco, and I'm the alternate student board member and president of Generation Up Fairfield to Soon. First off, I wanted to draw some attention to the press release from October 30th, 2020. It says, and I quote, Fairfield to Soon is excited about the partnership with Gen Up. We're collaborating on the following 3 projects: a student bill of rights, a high school ethnic studies course, and a recognition of a state seal of civic engagement. I thank the district for the cooperation in working with us, and a special thanks to the Assistant Superintendent of Educational Services, Dr. Sheila McCabe, and Director of Secondary Education, Kristen Witt, for meeting with us to plan further steps and keep us in the loop in regards to our campaigns. The next thing I'm going to talk about is ethnic studies. The University of California Board of Admissions and Relations with Schools has voted on and passed unanimously Proposal B from the proposals for A through G ethnic studies requirements on November 2nd, 2020. This would, and I quote, require at least 1/2 unit of ethnic studies course among the minimum 15 A through G courses. High school courses across A through G subjects may earn an ethnic studies designation if they align with the UC's ethnic studies course policy, to be determined by the UC Faculty Ethnic Studies Work Group. This shows high prospects of integrating ethnic studies into our district's curriculum, as it motivates the district to develop courses that incorporate the learning and understanding of ethnic groups in the United States. Solano County is among one of the most diverse counties in the United States. It is only right to educate such a diverse population of students with their own history to the fullest extent without anything removed. And so, as the UC faculty is pushing for these changes to happen in the work group, I urge the district to do its part to get ethnic studies classes integrated into our education system. Thank you very much.
Good evening, Superintendent Corey, Board President Honeychurch, members of the Governing Board, and members of the community. I am Aldrin Zambrana, and I'm the co-president of Generation Up Fairfield to Soon. Before I start, I would also like to thank the district and everyone involved for forming this partnership with Gen Up, and I look forward to all the things we will be able to accomplish in the near future. So now to the bulk of my public comment. In a paper titled The Casual Effects of Cultural Relevance, Evidence from an Ethnic Studies Curriculum by Thomas D. and Emily Penner, published in 2016, their results indicate that ethnic studies courses increased student attendance by 21%, GPA by 1.4 grade points, and credits earned by 23. These surprisingly large effects are consistent with the hypothesis that the course reduced dropout rates and suggest that culturally relevant teaching, when implemented in a supportive, high-fidelity context, can provide effective support to at-risk students. And so I'm here to advocate for the implementation of ethnic studies as well, especially with, as my associate Jacob Francisco had said, the University of California Board of Admissions and Relations with Schools voting on the proposal of requiring ethnic studies within their EG requirement. With AB 331 being vetoed by Governor Newsom on September 30th, 2020, this is an alternative method of integrating ethnic studies into the curriculum that will serve as a steady foothold for when this bill will pass, hopefully in the near future. The effect of working in conjunction with the UC faculty by adding courses that fit within the proposed standards is that it facilitates the process of this gradual implementation of ethnic studies. Seeing as ethnic studies will become integrated within the A through G graduation requirements to get into any school in the University of California system, starting the incorporation now will make the process easier down the line, since the district will have already had some courses available. Thank you for your time.
My name is Jeannie Mills, and I have 2 grandchildren in Fairfield Sassoon schools, making me one of the many grandparents working with their grandchildren with distance learning. There are a few advantages to this. We have an opportunity to see into the classroom and observe exactly how teachers interact with their students. Because of this, we realized that our TK student was being taught beyond grade level. Just this morning, the teacher was asking TK students to read 3- and 4-word sentences. My grandson isn't quite 5. The children are not reading, they're parroting the teacher. They were then expected to write a 4-word sentence, which is something the first graders do. Shouldn't a TK student be learning letters and letter sounds before trying to read? Is this happening in every TK class across the district, or just this one? If so, why? This could start my grandson on a negative path regarding learning. Unfortunately, on more than one occasion, this class has been canceled at the very last minute because the teacher did not show up. Would that be acceptable if children were actually at school? I'm wondering what the protocol is for subs, because some schools seem to have it in place while others don't. And is TK not supposed to be primarily social? I know some of the sight words that the teacher is claiming the kids already know are words that are typically introduced at the end of first grade. Our second grader is at her screen for 4 hours every morning with only 2 or 3 5-minute breaks. As a result, she has developed a tic that is obvious to those of us who are with her. It's my understanding that first and second graders are expected to have 100 synchronous minutes per day. On some days, they also have a 25-minute block of small group time. I do believe in this particular class, they're getting more than that. There needs to be a more consistent expectation for asynchronous minutes across the district. What is each student doing independently outside of their morning hours? And these should be assignments that a child can do on their own. A second grader doesn't know how to write an essay, for example. I can tell you it's a real challenge to get our 7-year-old back to the screen later in the day. I know that teachers are discovering that young children are home alone, and I am sure that is happening out of complete desperation on the part of the parents. I'm not asking for school to fully resume in pre-COVID fashion, but I want to reiterate that distance learning is taking a toll on everyone, students, teachers, parents, and guardians. Teachers are exhausted and exasperated, and at least one I know has said, if this continues into the following year, she'll change careers. Our family is very fortunate that we have some flexibility, and we have local grandparents that can help. I would strongly urge you to consider how we can reopen schools safely. I appreciate how hard the teachers are working, and I know how they feel because we have some in our family. I'm grateful for everyone and for the many hours that have already gone into planning for the future. I'm simply saying, this is how distance learning looks in our family. Thank you very much for your time.
The next 3 speakers are Anna Patero, Rebecca Grafty, and George Gwynn.
Just a polite reminder before we continue, please refrain from clapping. This is a meeting in public, not a public meeting. Thank you.
Good evening, Superintendent Corey and Board President Honeychurch, members of the board. I'm here to talk about music. Last night at the CMA Awards, Eric Church, who won Entertainer of the Year, said that music is about bringing about unity. This afternoon in one of my classes, I heard a speech from a student who talked about the importance of band and how when she was in high school, just graduated from high school recently, and said that the reason why she came to school was because of band. I understand we have 5 schools that have music right now. I think it would be a shame if we don't have music teachers in those schools, because if we don't have music teachers, then enrollment decreases. And if enrollment decreases, then we don't have feeder schools to our universities, to our high schools, 3 high schools that have band. And if we don't have those feeder schools, then we have inequities in access to music. And so thereby, what happens then if you only have parents who can afford to send their students, their children, to private lessons and then join the band. So I'm hoping that we maintain the teachers who are in the 5 schools that we have. Hopefully we'll be able to expand music so that we have feeder schools to our 3 high school band programs. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you, Board Member Silva and Ms. Gott, for your service to our community. Thank you very much.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Putting COVID in Historical and Objective Perspective from the Experts. Since you're in distance learning with me, please make sure your camera is on to receive credit for attendance for today's synchronous time. As a correction to the last meeting's info, 5,000 children are killed by homicide every year, 10,000 more than COVID without COVID level publicity. I hope you've done your reading during asynchronous time. Let's jump in. Is Go Slow Schools reopening failing kids? You observed this is a question answer with Joseph Allen of Harvard T.H. Chan School of Public Health, an associate professor of exposure science who runs the Science Schools Healthy Buildings program. He starts with, kids at school are less likely to suffer from abuse, neglect, exploitation, and violence. The medical director at Children's Hospital of San Diego, in an interview on October 2nd, reported child abuse pediatricians are seeing an 82% increase in outpatient visits, 75% increase in inpatient consultation since shelter in place began. The director of Fresno County Health in September said we're seeing kids, particularly in an increase in suicide attempts in the last few days. Overall, for Fresno County, it's a 70% increase. CDC reports that the suicide rate peaks in the fall and the spring, and people usually spend time distracted with family for the holidays. But this year, the holiday celebrations will be muted, and thus less activities to keep the minds of children off of the dog days of winter. According to the Huffington Post, CDC, and others, pressures plaguing our students, such as divorce, statistically have the largest number of filings coming in January, creating more problems for students who look to school to provide stability in their lives when their family structure is failing. We've seen from budget reports a reserve increase for FSUSD. Dr. Allen goes on to list practical and cost-effective ways to keep schools safe. Prop open windows a couple inches, increase the air changes per hour to 4 to 6. Change damper positions on air systems to bring in more outdoor air and upgrade filters. For indoor classrooms, the use of inexpensive portable air cleaners with HEPA filters. YMCAs, he notes, open in New York City through the peak of this in March and April had no problems. The majority of childcare camps open across the United States, he also notes, has no problem. For additional reading before next meeting, please review the Wall Street Journal article from October 30th, entitled, End the School Shutdown. In-person classes turn out not to cause spikes in causes or fatality, but keeping kids home has a high cost. In it, it cites the high cost of being levied on minorities and women.
Mr. George Glenn?
Good evening once again. As a longtime attendee of school board meetings and longtime advocate for the taxpayer, I'm pleased to report it looks like Prop 15 is going down, which is very good news for Prop 13 because ever since 1978 when it passed, it's been pecked on, and hopefully finally the people trying to destroy it or recognize that it's not going to happen. So it's very good news that Prop 13 is still alive. And other thing, the whole board, I don't think there was anybody that voted against Prop 15. I hope you guys remember how you voted come election time. The other item is Prop 19. Prop 19, I don't have such good news. All the results are not in, but it's not looking too good for the taxpayer on that one. And it was so camouflaged in the way it was presented, it really didn't represent what it should have as far as what the public knew, and I think they got confused. Because it's very close so far, but it's enough to pass, I believe. The other thing I want to talk about, we have a governor that's a real control freak, so I wouldn't count on getting out of the red or the purple zone. I think in a few weeks, it's a good possibility we might even go to purple. So here we got the school district getting as much money as ever. We got a whole different ballgame as far as the type of instruction we're getting. And it doesn't really speak well for the quality of instruction or what the taxpayers are paying for. I really hope that turns around. There's a recall effort out for the governor. I hope everybody will pick up on that because otherwise I think we're in for a really long term of not having the kind of results we should get for the money the taxpayers are paying. So I really hope people will remember this and see what they can do to correct it. Thank you very much.
Our next speaker is Adam Weber.
Hi, so 2 weeks ago, I had 3 hours worth of information I condensed into 3 minutes, so I thought I'd be brief this time. There's just a few points I want to make. One is with a lot of things. For those that don't know me, my name is Adam Weber. I co-facilitate a special needs support group here in town called Parents Prime Parents. And special education has been real rough. Distance learning has been horrible. It's interesting that I was really happy to hear the points that Dorothy was making about changes that are being made. However, it's not the same across the board. SCO is going for 2 hours twice a week. One of my kids is going to school for a half an hour 3 times a week, and then my other kid's not going to school at all. It's reached a point where in order to get my kids to do anything with distance learning, I have to yell at them to the point they cry. I really don't want to be that parent. So I remember some wise advice that a teacher told me many years ago, and that was, you are the captain of this ship and you decide where it goes. So I decided I'm not going to be that parent. And I decided I'm not going to do distance learning, and I gave up. And I'm only committing to a half an hour a day between each kid. And we're not doing asynchronous learning because they're not going to do it anyway. I also wanted to make a point that the union said that 75% of people voted 3 to 5 on their scale. What about the other 25%? Are those people who voted 1 and you didn't want to mention them because they're having such a horrible time? We used to coin a phrase in early intervention called evidence-based practices. And it's interesting how distance learning, I can't even think, is there any evidence that distance learning works? Are, are we so beholden to the union that, maybe people are afraid to speak up and they're like, oh, no, we're just going to stay in line and do as we please. We're just going to vote 3 to be safe. When those people, I'm sure, were probably far less. Distance learning is hurting our kids, and we can really do better. I know there's been a lot of rumors about, are we even going to go back this year? I mean, by the time we do, it's going to be March, and we're going to, have been out of school for a year, so it's just a wasted year anyway, right? Might as well finish out the school year, go into summer, maybe wait till fall before we make a decision. I know we're about to go into Thanksgiving break and winter break, and maybe we'll make a decision when we come back. Maybe we won't. I guess we'll find out. I'm really optimistic. I noticed that with this latest election, the 2 trustees that voted to stay in distance learning won't be with us for much longer. And hey, the one person who did who voted to not remain in distance learning, she's still here. So I guess that's a good measurement of where people are at. And we can do better. So thank you.
Board, we have reached the 20 minutes. We have 3 more public speakers who are requesting to speak.
I move that we let them speak.
A second.
Thank you. Roll call.
We need a roll.
Mrs. Scott,
Aye.
Mrs. Honeychurch,
Aye.
Mr. Isom,
Aye.
Mr. Richardson,
Aye.
Mr. Silva,
Aye.
Ms. Smith, Mr. Wilson,
Aye.
Chantel Martino,
Aye.
Okay, our next 3 speakers are David Torres, followed by Doreen Torres, followed by Jackson Richard.
Good evening. So we've spent the last couple months pouring out scientific articles and reports from around the world. Children are not high spreaders of COVID, nor are they susceptible to severe cases. And in fact, we've shown over and over again that the seasonal flu is way more dangerous. Now, as we're seeing huge spikes of COVID around the world, we see a new wave of lockdowns. However, there's one area that is not being restricted, and that is schools. France, Germany, Ireland, you name it, they are all experiencing bigger waves of cases ever. Yet they are committed to the in-person education of their students. Why? Because they believe the science, because they know that taking away in-person schooling is significantly more dangerous than this virus. And I believe you all know this. I believe that all of you are rational people dedicated to the truth of the matter, and you're basing this on facts, not feelings, and that's how you should move forward. So we already know the physical and mental setbacks that distance learning has wrought upon our children, how excessive screen time is rotting their mental well-being, a lack of social interaction is creating an epidemic of mental illness in young people. But there are now reports of academic effects of distance learning. For example, Redwood City school districts have seen almost doubling the failing grades for students. This goes for Mount Diablo school districts as well, and several other school districts are reporting higher than normal failing grades. But of course, the worst hit are those from low-income communities. They're failing miserably. Many of them aren't even showing up to their distance learning classes. And I find this interesting because I've seen so much talk about equity from this board and this school district lately, yet the most inequitable outcomes have come from distance learning. Look, our state last year was ranked 37th in the nation for K through 12th grade. That's pretty horrible. We already have a horrible foundation for our education in this state, and now distance learning is making it worse. So I'm here to ask, what are you going to do about it? Every day that our kids are unnecessarily restricted from in-person learning is another day contributing to their educational failures and their physical and mental well-being. So what are you going to do about it? Follow the science? I hope so. Follow the rest of the world and do what's right? I hope so. So what I hope to hear about soon is what in-person instruction will look like and when will it resume. What I think most of us would like to see is full-time in-person instruction with a distance learning option available for anyone who wants it. Your parental surveys are correct, and there should be no problem implementing smaller classroom sizes, all the while keeping others in distance learning. There shouldn't be an either-or option, but both options available. Kairos is doing it that way. Why can't we? So again, we're here today because we don't want January to come around and you have done nothing. And so we expect to hear from you soon. And I'm glad we've heard a little bit tonight, but we need to hear more. We need to know when we can expect our students to receive an actual education that will contribute to their whole well-being, socially, mentally, physically, and academically. So I thank you for your time, and we look forward to seeing you guys make the right decisions soon. We want to hear more. Thank you. God bless you.
Ruby Bridges, a name that most of you probably recognize, but if it's unfamiliar, let me share a little bit of history with you. On November 14th, 1960, 6-year-old Ruby Bridges became the first Black child to attend an all-white elementary school in New Orleans. Escorted by federal U.S. Marshals past angry protesters, young Ruby attended William Franks Elementary. Ruby recently wrote a children's book. It's called This Is Your Time. I purchased the book and I read it to my youngest today. I want to read a snippet from page 8 to you. Here. It was a difficult decision for both of my parents to agree to let me go to school along with the Marshals, especially for my dad, but they knew it was necessary. My father, like most dads, wanted nothing more than to protect his little girl. I hope it's clear that I am in no way trying to compare segregated schools to what we're dealing with now with distance learning. I just want to mention that when I was reading this book today, I couldn't help but wonder how her parents must have felt. Like she mentioned, it was difficult for them. I'm sure it was for them to send her to school. It was probably terrifying, but they knew they had to do it. They knew that their daughter had the right to an education. Then I started thinking about everything our children have been dealing with this year. I understand that this virus is real, but I also understand that it isn't going anywhere. I understand that the mortality rate is extremely low now, and I understand all of the medical science proving that children are not super spreaders. Our children, every single one of them, deserves an education, but they're being made to feel as if they don't. Why do they feel this way? Because what they've been offered through distance learning is not a real education. They know this, us parents know this, and I believe every single one of you on this board know this. I read this book today, this children's book, and I walked away feeling inspired by Ruby and her parents. Our children need us to be their voice. They need us to advocate for them, especially when they're feeling like we failed them. We have failed them. And when I say we, I mean all the adults in charge, the board members, the teachers' union leadership, every single person who has voted against reopening. We are failing our kids in such a detrimental way. I know that the topic of reopening is expected to be an item on the agenda next month. My hope is that conversations will be had, plans will be in the making, and that reopening in January actually does happen. I'll be back at that meeting because I will not fail my kids. Thank you.
Hi, my name's Jackson, as you guys know. I want to start this off by today. I had a breakdown. I couldn't figure stuff out. During asynchronous time, during first period, I needed to talk to the teacher about something I was missing to work on. Well, only the paraeducators for special ed class wanted to have one-on-one time with me. Fortunately, I could not have that. And the educators told me that get up to get on. I don't have motivation, like I said, the last few meetings. And so what did I do? I closed the Chromebook, or they compared me to other students, said that they're doing it, but they're not me. I am not. And another thing I want to bring up is it's costing me my dad and I a lot to keep me home. I have irritable bowel syndrome and a lot. It's causing the water bill to go up, the electricity bill to go up. Let's go back to the situation with the teachers, and I closed the Chromebook and cried. It's not getting. I'm so done. I've been trying my best since this whole distance learning has. It's not working out for me. It's not. Actually, a couple days ago, had a learning about resumes, and we've been doing this for months now, and this teacher still can't figure out how to work. Teachers are still trying to remodel their lives to fit. And then I'm gonna take this on to the next knot. A couple months ago, I thought about suicide because I could not figure any of the work out. I felt dumb. I felt stupid, and it kind of pushed me over to the edge. Luckily, my friends were there. Service dog was there. I wish you guys would listen. You guys already had your decision made first meeting for the public meeting. As a freshman student of USD, this. Not to mention, before I would go back, I would get tested. I'd get tested. I've been tested. That stuff. I guess that's all I have. Let's go.
That concludes our public speakers.
Thank you. Moving on to the consent calendar. Do we have any items to be pulled from the consent calendar?
I would like to pull 9C, please.
Okay. Any others to be pulled? Okay. May I have a motion to approve the consent calendar minus 9C?
Move approval. Move approval.
Did you want to just talk about it first?
Okay, Joan, do you want to just say what your concern is first?
Sure. It's a discrepancy because at the beginning, when Angie Adelanitas gave her report, she stated that Rodriguez High was the only high school that would have the band kids doing conditioning. And yet, when you look at the extended day stipends that are being paid, Rodriguez Band program is not on the extended day stipends being listed as one that's being paid. And that's what we're supposed to be signing off on tonight. So I don't know quite what the problem is with that. And the information that I got from Mr. Whittemore stated that none of this information had come into him. So I don't know exactly what the problem is, but it needs to be checked out. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, and I just want to clarify on that. Just because the paperwork hasn't made it in doesn't mean that they won't be paid, because this is a standing item on the agenda.
Thank you very much.
Sure.
So can we leave it in, Joan, and not pull it?
Sure. Now that we have that reassurance, yes.
Okay. So may I have another motion? Or actually, can we just withdraw the other motion or amend it, someone?
I move that I withdraw my motion.
Okay.
And now I move that we accept the consent calendar.
Okay, thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, roll call.
Mrs. Scott?
Aye.
Mrs. Honeychurch?
Aye.
Mr. Isom?
Aye.
Mr. Richardson?
Aye.
Mr. Silva?
Aye.
Ms. Smith?
Aye.
Mr. Wilson?
Aye.
Chantel Martino?
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. We move on to our action items. 11A. Review and potential approval of the recommended revision of English learner reclassification criteria. Before turning it over to Howard Kornblum, do we have any public speakers?
There are no public speakers.
Okay, Howard?
Good evening, Superintendent Corey, Board President Honeychurch, Board Trustees, staff, and community members. Tonight, staff is recommending the governing board consider approving 2 minor revisions to the criteria to consider English learner students for reclassification as fluent English proficient. One of the 4 Education Code required criteria to consider a student for reclassification is performance on a standards-based assessment. FSUSD uses EL students' performance on the Smarter Balance Assessment or their performance on the measures of assessment progress, otherwise known as MAP. In response to the challenges with the administration of the MAP assessment, particularly for our younger students while in distance learning, staff is no longer requiring first and second graders to take the MAP assessment while FSUSD remains in distance learning. Since first and second graders do not take the Smarter Balance Assessment, staff is recommending the substitution of their performance on the Reading Quick Check to indicate mastery on a standards-based assessment instead of MAP while FSUSD remains in distance learning. The recommended revisions have been shared and reviewed by FSUSD's District English Learners Advisory Committee, otherwise known as DLAC, as well as with our lead teachers supporting English learners from each school site. Thank you for considering staff's recommendation to revise reclassification criteria so EL first and second graders can still be considered reclassification while the district remains in distance learning.
Thank you. May I have a motion to approve?
So moved, Joan Gott.
Second?
Second.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Scott,
Aye.
Mrs. Honeychurch,
Aye.
Mr. Isom,
Aye.
Mr. Richardson,
Aye.
Mr. Silva,
Aye.
Ms. Smith,
Aye.
Mr. Wilson,
Aye.
Chantel Martino,
Aye.
Motion carries. Moving on to 11B, review and potential approval of 2020-21 school plans for student achievement revisions for 6 Title I schools and Semieto Continuation High School. Again, Howard Kornblum, do we have any public speakers first?
Move
My
approval.
apologies. There are no public speakers.
Thank you.
Move
Howard?
approval.
Oh, did you want to say a few words first? Presentation? No presentation? Okay, thank you. Joan, was that your?
Yes, it was. I moved approval.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second, David Ice.
Thank you. Roll call.
Mrs. Scott,
Aye.
Mrs. Honeychurch,
Aye.
Mr. Isom,
Aye.
Mr. Richardson,
Aye.
Mr. Silva,
Aye.
Ms. Smith, Mr. Wilson,
Aye.
Chantel Martino,
Aye.
Thank you. Motion carries. 11C, review and potential approval of the 2021 Western Association of Schools and Colleges mid-cycle report for Fairfield High School. There is no presentation. Are there any public speakers?
There are no public speakers.
May I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Jonathan Richards, is there a second?
Second, Joan Gott.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Scott,
Aye.
Mrs. Honeychurch,
Aye.
Mr. Isom,
Aye.
Mr. Richardson,
Aye.
Mr. Silva,
Aye.
Ms. Smith,
Aye.
Mr. Wilson,
Aye.
Chantel Martino,
Aye.
Thank you. Motion carries. 12A, review.
Madam Perez, just real quickly, item 12 that we passed prior to this one, I noticed that the final resolution listed people not present to vote. I just want to make note of that. The screen that we're looking at now where it says yay, the screen previous to this and the vote previous to this listed not present to vote for everyone. I just want to make note of that.
Oh, thank you. Is that
Thank
corrected?
you. We'll fix it.
Thank you.
All right. So now we are on 12A. Review and potential approval of Resolution 14, 2021, resolution of intention to sell real property owned by the Fairfield Unified School District. Before turning it over to Paul Speed, do we have any public speakers?
There are no public speakers.
Thank you. Mr. Speed.
Thank you, President Honeychurch, and good evening, Superintendent Corey, President Honeychurch, and governing board members. I'm going to share my screen. Okay, can everybody see that? Before you tonight is the resolution of intention to sell the Falls property. This has been a long endeavor, and therefore we have provided a brief presentation to remind you of the history of the Falls disposition and sales process. For a little background, the site was purchased in 1955 by the Falls School District, and after the unification in 1968, became under the ownership of the Fairfield Sassoon Unified School District. It was used continuously as a school with declining enrollments until 1998, the same year Nelda Mundy Elementary opened. Since that time, the site has held various programs. However, since its closure, the site has been underutilized. The district struggled to maintain the buildings, and former school buildings had deteriorated over the years and eventually were demolished in February of this year. Only the multi-purpose building still remains on the property. Because Falls was unable to be used as a viable school site, in 2010, the district went through a 7-11 committee process, and the committee ultimately recommended the property be declared surplus. The district then worked from 2013 until 2019 with various parties for the exchange or sell. As you can see from the 4 parties listed on the slide, there have been a number of attempts. Unfortunately, all the agreements the district worked with have failed to materialize, with the most recent in March of 2018. Following these unsuccessful attempts, the governing board gave staff the direction to explore another sale or exchange of the property. Because the district did its due diligence in 2016, providing the necessary offerings to the public agencies outlined in the Education Code, we've already met the statutory requirement. Nonetheless, we will go above and beyond and let these agencies know we are once again accepting offers for the entire 9.99 acre property. Staff is recommending the governing board consider and adopt Resolution 14-2021. If approved, staff will move forward with the notification letters to public agencies, as well as community members who have expressed interest, the necessary advertising and posting requirements, and release the bid documents for receiving offers at the January 28th, 2021 board meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. May I have a motion to approve?
David Isom, move approval.
Thank you. Second. There's no discussion. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Scott,
Aye.
Mrs. Honeychurch,
Aye.
Mr. Isom,
Aye.
Mr. Richardson,
Aye.
Mr. Silva,
Aye.
Ms. Smith,
Aye.
Mr. Wilson,
Aye.
Chantel Martino,
Aye.
Okay. Motion carries. Moving on to 12B. A review and potential approval of agreement with Security Incorporated. Chris Clark will be presenting. Do we have any public speakers?
We do not have any public speakers.
Mr. Clark?
Good evening, Board President Honeychurch, Superintendent Corey, board members, and members of the public. I'm Chris Clark, the Director of Technology Support Services. I'm here today to ask the board to approve the proposed agreement with Securely Inc., as well as to report on our compliance with Assembly Bill 1442 and its codification in Ed Code 490.73.6. This was brought to our attention in a legal update from School and College Legal Services of California on November 4th. AB 1442 mandates a series of requirements before our district adopts a program to search the social media of students to gather information regarding school and student safety. There's one application, Securely, that is used widely in our district, and a second, Go Guardian, that's being piloted at Beagle, Wilson, and Green Valley that fall under the definition in AB 1442. Securely is used primarily to filter the internet on our Chromebook to ensure that we're compliant with the Children's Internet Protection Act. Go Guardian's proposed use is as a classroom management system that provides tools for teachers to ensure that students are on task while using Chromebook. Both applications also have detection for self-harm, bullying, and violence. These applications monitor where students are browsing and what they're typing while they're on district-owned devices, and send alerts to designated staff when they detect any of those previously mentioned behaviors. In order for us to be compliant with AB 1442, the first requirement is that prior to implementation, we notify parents and students with an opportunity for public comment at a regularly scheduled board meeting. This was completed with a presentation that I gave about district safety and security on August 9th, 2018. In that presentation, I discussed Securely and the features that it would provide. The remaining 4 requirements are ongoing. Once the student social media search program has been implemented, the LEA must do all of the following. 1, gather or maintain only information that pertains directly to school safety or to pupil safety. 2, provide a pupil with access to any information about the pupil gathered or maintained by the LEA that was obtained from social media and an opportunity to correct or delete such information. 3, destroy information gathered from social media and maintained in its records within 1 year after a pupil turns 18 years of age, or within 1 year after the pupil is no longer enrolled in the LEA, whichever occurs first. And finally, notify each parent or guardian of a pupil subject to the program that the pupil's information is being gathered from social media, and that any information subject to this program and maintained in the LEA's records with regard to the pupil shall be destroyed in accordance with the timelines in item 3 above. AB 1442 also includes requirements for how students and parents are notified annually and requirements if the LEA contracts with a third party for the program. The district has met all the requirements set forth in AB 1442 and is working to provide even more transparency for students, parents, and guardians on the TSS software webpage and in the parent-student handbook. With that, we ask that the board approve the proposed agreement with Securely Inc.
Thank you, Mr. Clark. May I have a motion to approve? Second?
David Isom, second.
Thank you. Is there any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Scott,
Aye.
Mrs. Honeychurch,
Aye.
Mr. Isom,
Aye.
Mr. Richardson,
Aye.
Mr. Silva,
Aye.
Ms. Smith,
Aye.
Mr. Wilson,
Aye.
Chantel Martino,
Aye.
Thank you. Motion carries. Moving on to 12B. Review and potential approval of request for allowance of attendance because of emergency conditions. There's no presentation. Any public speak?
There are no public speakers on this item.
May I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
approval.
John Gott.
Joan, and is there a second?
Second.
Jonathan, thank you. Is there any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Scott,
Aye.
Mrs. Honeychurch,
Aye.
Mr. Isom,
Aye.
Mr. Richardson,
Aye.
Mr. Silva,
Aye.
Ms. Smith,
Aye.
Mr. Wilson,
Aye.
Chantel Martino,
Aye.
Thank you. Motion carries. 13B, review and potential approval of the student calendar for the 2021-2022 school year. No presentation. Any public speakers?
Do you have A?
Oh, did I not? Did I skip A?
Yeah.
Oh, I did. Thank you very much. Sorry. Moving back, 13A, review and potential approval of Resolution 15-2021, authorization of employment of an instructor to teach on a provisional internship program. No permit rather. No presentation. Any public speakers?
There are no public speakers.
They have a motion to approve.
Move approval. Joan Gott.
Thank you. Second,
Second.
Jonathan. Thank you. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Gott,
Aye.
Mrs. Honeychurch,
Aye.
Mr. Isom,
Aye.
Mr. Richardson,
Aye.
Ms. Silva, Mr. Silva, I'm sorry,
Aye.
Ms. Smith,
Aye.
Mr. Wilson,
Aye.
Chantel Martino,
Aye.
Thank you. Motion carries. Now we go on to 13B, review and potential approval of the student calendar for the 2021-2022 school year. No presentation. Any public speakers on this item?
No public speakers.
A motion, please, to approve.
David Isom, move approval.
Okay, I heard Bethany first. David, do you want a second?
Sure.
Alrighty. Any discussion on this item? Right. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Gott,
Aye.
Mrs. Honeychurch,
Aye.
Mr. Isom,
Aye.
Mr. Richardson,
Aye.
Mr. Silva,
Aye.
Ms. Smith,
Aye.
Mr. Wilson,
Aye.
Chantel Martino,
Aye.
Thank you. Motion carries. We now move on to 16, information. 16A, notice of upcoming bids. No presentation. Any public speakers?
No public speakers.
May I have a motion to approve?
Information.
I think this is just information.
Sorry, that's right. Okay. Is there any discussion on this item? Okay. 17, information, human resources. 17A, the ancillary, pardon me, Professions Association, APA unit, initial proposal for Fairfield Unified School District, exercising provisions of the collective bargaining agreement to sunshine the successor contract for July 1, 2020 through June 30th, 2023. No presentation. Any public speakers?
There are no public speakers.
Any comments or discussion on this item? 18, information item A, listing of nominations for board office holders and board of subcommittee / ad hoc committee members. Are there any public speakers on this item?
No public speakers.
Okay, so far we have the following names of interest in holding office. For board president, we have Jonathan Richardson, vice president Bethany Smith, clerk Craig Wilson, acting clerk is blank. The Solano County School Board's representative, Bethany, has submitted her name for alternate. We have the governance subcommittee, both the chair and the different months to participate. We have, that's all blank, and district audit ad hoc committees blank. The Fairfield FSUSD Joint Committee, Bethany has indicated her interest there, and we need 2 more, an alternate and a regular. Susoon FSUSD Joint Committee, we have no one volunteering, and Facility Subcommittee, Bethany has put in her name. Bethany, is that for chair or just as a member?
I don't put my name in as chair. Figured if I'm the role the way to leave up.
Okay. Okay, with those, thank you, Bethany. With those vacancies, is there any board member who would like to submit their name right now for us to fill in some blank spots?
Madam President, I'd like to submit my name for acting clerk, Sassoon Joint,
Okay.
and
Oh, wait, and you said which other one?
the joint with Sassoon City joint
Oh,
meeting,
okay, thank you, David.
and the CS and the representative for Solano County.
And the representative for, school board representative?
Yep.
Okay, so that's 3. All right, anyone else? At the December 17th meeting, we'll have an opportunity for the new board members to submit any interest with blanks that we still have. I'd like to add my name to the governance subcommittee. For the chair. And typically the ad hoc committee is the president and vice president. So that would be filled, assuming Jonathan and Bethany are those positions. Any others?
Yes, Madam President, I'd be interested in the Fairfield Joint Committee,
Okay, I'll add your name, Craig.
and I'm willing any of the others, but nice to have it spread around, and hopefully we'll hold spots for the new board.
Okay.
As President Honeychurch, I just want to remind you that they will submit some interest. So at the December meeting, you will see a new sheet where the new board members will have also expressed their interests.
Okay. Any other interests expressed by this group?
Madam Chair, I will consider after the new board members have an opportunity to make their selections, position to join you on the governance subcommittee.
Okay.
On any of the rotational basis. So you can put me in. I'm not sure. I'm looking at it now, but I don't have a preference.
Okay.
But I will submit to join you there.
Okay, thank you.
And Ms. Chairman, if there are still blanks at our organization meeting, we can fill them in the moment. Is that correct?
Yeah. And actually what will happen, Craig, is we vote in the president, vice president, clerk, and then from that point on, the rest, whoever the president is, determines or announces who will fill the following position based on.
Thank you.
Right. Any further comments on this item? We are ready to move to adjournment. 21. This evening, we will be adjourning the meeting in honor and memory of Tad Glashoff, well-known community member and supporter of Sassoon Valley K-8 School, and Lois Marie Phelps, grandmother of Sandra Phelps Bayer, behavior intervention specialist. May I have a motion to adjourn?
Move. Jonathan Richardson.
Okay. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Scott,
Aye.
Mrs. Honeychurch,
Aye.
Mr. Isom,
Nay, let's meet for a little longer.
Mr. Richardson,
Aye.
Mr. Silva,
Aye.
Ms. Smith,
Aye.
Mr. Wilson,
Aye.
Chantel Martino.
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.
Board members, just a reminder, we'll see you Tuesday morning at 8:30. We have a couple of items on the agenda. I think we're going to add the delegate assembly on that one as well.
Aye, Captain.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good night, all.
Okay, good night. We'll see you all on Tuesday.
Okay, good night.
I don't think we'll see anybody before that.